Welcome, everybody. Get my comments pulled up here. They're not flowing in yet, but hopefully they will be here in a few minutes. So, Mark at Hobby Nuts having a few issues. Hey, Jimmy Shoebox. He's working on Mark at Hobby Nuts working on his communication device right now, and he'll be joining us here in a second. Let me add him to the stream. How about it, Mark? You got it?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. So everybody, just for a few minutes, Mark was struggling to get his audio working, so he's got it going just in the nick of time. So nice to everybody to join us tonight. Thanks, Chris, Troy, Mark. We're just going to. It'd be nice if we could start doing this on a regular basis, if our schedules permit, and just starting to come on and have live streams and talk about the things that we do as far as the hobby and why we do them and things such as that. And tonight, what I wanted to do is to take a few minutes and us four give a brief history of ourselves and why we enjoy doing what we do with the hobby, and going through the comments afterwards and reading some of these questions and communicating with you guys. And that is what the plan is, at least for tonight. So without further ado, I will. Whose audio am I hearing? Am I hearing?
Yeah. Is that me?
Okay. Yeah, that's yours. Okay. Can you mute until we speak? Okay. Or you might want to just try the computer.
I just went back to normal audio and mic.
Okay. Well, that sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to put Chris Callan. Chris, you're frozen? Are you still coming in loud and proud? There you are. Chris Callan,
can you hear me?
Ahead. Yeah, if you guys will notice behind Chris, there are some paintings. That's Chris's expertise, and he does models pretty good too. So that looks like a 1965 Ford. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
And then on the other side is my favorite one, about over Chris's right shoulder. It's a 1966 Fairlane 500, something around there.
Yeah.
And Chris is a very talented painter. He goes to car shows and he takes pictures of these cars, and he then takes them home and paints them. So Chris, start us off. Tell us about where you started. You can talk about the paintings. You can talk about model cars. Just let us know who you are. Let the guys watching know who you are.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, Chris.
Okay. Well, my name's Chris. I've been a car guy all my life. Got into model building probably 7 or 8 years old. Did that into, that's probably my early 30s. I went to model shows in the area.
Chris is a toy soldier right now. He's not moving.
Swap. Picked it back up about me again.
He said he may have audio or internet issues. So hey Chris, we'll circle back to you, okay? I'll talk about myself just for a minute. Well, my name's Matthew, and I got into model cars when I don't have an exact age, but I was probably somewhere around 7, 8, 9 years old. I remember a story my dad talked about. A friend of his, when he was a kid, he would build models, my dad and he. And his friend built a car that had brake lines and it was wired and all this. Now, this is back in the 60s. And my dad said it was such a great car. They went to a small model show they had in their town. And this man's car was so nice. My dad was so frustrated. He took his car and smashed it up against the wall. Now, I would never do that with my cars because I put too much time in them, as bad as they look. But I can remember that story from when I was so young. And I built model cars as a child, and up into my early teenage years, I remember my dad. We remodeled our house, and he built a nice desk so I could do those things. And it was a lot of fun. I just had so much fun building those because we didn't have the video games like they have today. So that's what the way I spent my time. A lot of evenings, a lot of days, just building model cars. Then I grew up, moved out of the house, forgot it, left it all behind. The house unfortunately burned. All my old relics burned up. But about probably 10 years ago, I started picking up a few kits here and there, not really intentionally. My intentions weren't to build them, just to collect them. And then about 2 years ago, maybe a little longer, I started buying them like mad and started to build them, and then wanted to start sharing them on YouTube. And the rest is just postal history. My wife jokes with me all the time. She says, "You've got a box." She knows exactly what's in the box. So that's a lot of fun. When I come in and there's a stack of boxes, and she looks at me a little funny and says, "You've got a box. I wonder what's in it." And I don't think anyone else in our hobby ever goes through that, but unfortunately I do. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. So that's my story. I'm just a regular guy, works a full-time job, and I come home and spend a few minutes in the evenings working on these things, making a video, and now live streaming. So it's a lot of fun. And I appreciate you three guys coming on here and doing the same. Chris, have you got it worked out? You ready to start back over? Chris,
Yeah,
go ahead. See if
this is going to be interesting, isn't it?
your connection holds up long enough to tell us about yourself.
Okay, started building when I was about 7 or 8 years old. Built into young adulthood. Went to all the shows like Louisville and Nashville, that area. Went to the SWAT meets. Then I started getting into my artwork, which was about 10 years ago. Got real busy with that, kind of lost interest in the hobby, and started watching YouTube, looking up model car videos, and haven't looked back. The bug bit me again.
Yeah, it's poisonous for sure. It bites into your wallet, into your bank account, checking account, and all those things. So yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
it does cost money. And that's interesting because not we'll continue on here in just a second, but um, I've been listening to John Paul. He's in Canada, and man, it's expensive up there. It's super expensive for these guys to get. The shipping is high to ship them from the States to Canada, and in Canada, then it's very limited, is what they say. So we're fortunate here in the United States so far to be able to. The prices are very reasonable. Hey Troy,
right.
you ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Well, my name is Troy, and I'm from Illinois. I got into the hobby when I was probably 8 years old. My dad bought me a 172 scale monogram snap kit F4 Phantom, and he turned me loose on it. I guess he figured a snap kit would be easy enough for me, and so it only took me about a half an hour to build. And I just fell in love with the hobby from that point on, and I've always been an airplane guy. Most of my life I built, and I even brought one up to show you all. um, Always loved building airplanes, but as I got older, the parts, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and the parts are smaller and so small. I was struggling putting them together as easily as I used to. So I started getting into building military armor, and really enjoy the military armor. This was my most recent project. It's to me a tiger or panther. I'm sorry, and those kits seem to be a lot easier for me to put together. And I wanted to learn a little more about techniques and different things that everybody does with the paint and whatever else with it. So I started looking up model videos on there, and I came across model car videos. So I sat down and watched one episode of that, and my interest turned to cars, putting together model cars. And the parts can be small there, but I'm able to work with them a little easier, and I just kind of got the bug for it, and that's what I've been working on ever since. Um, my second model I ever built was with as far as gluing them together. My dad had went to, I believe, Walmart, and I was probably 9 or 10, and he bought a couple kits, and I think it was another F4 Phantom. It was a 148 scale, and he bought a 148 scale Skyhawk, A4 Skyhawk, and that's one of the fondest memories I have was sitting at the kitchen table with my dad, both of us working on our models together. He's teaching me how to read instructions. He's teaching me um, how to glue and everything, and just had such a great time. And while he's putting his together, he was in the Marine Corps and in the early '60s, and the A4 Skyhawk was his favorite plane. And he would sit and tell stories about how in their different maneuvers they did, how the A4s were involved, and he just talked about how low they'd fly. And he just, I mean, it was just a great time sitting there with him. And I just wish I could have those days back. He's passed away now, and just one of my fondest memories. And I just always have loved building models. It's never went away. There's been years where I didn't do as much, but in the past, I'd say 8 or 9 years, I've been pretty regular. So
Yeah, that's interesting. Everybody, so Troy can't see the comment section, but you guys are commenting and they're giving you very positive feedback, Troy. All right. So speaking of having model kits that are reasonably priced, and there's a guy that owns his own hobby shop, and his name's Mark, and he owns Hobby Nut Models. And I want to introduce Mark now. Let him give you guys a few minutes to tell you about himself.
Well, I'm pretty honored. I'm the only person here that has the @ symbol by their name. So,
Yeah.
well, let me get started with. I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. My aunt had actually bought me a model kit for my birthday. And I remember that it was a monogram F86 Sabre. And I probably had it put together in no less than an hour. And that pretty much started it. And I really fell in love with everything models. I built lots of cars, airplanes. I built a few tanks when I was younger. Probably until I was about 18, I built a lot. Just about every monogram kit I see, or AMT, or MPC, I look at and like, I think I built that before. And, sometimes I have to think about it. Like, did I really build that? Was that one I wanted? But it had to be in the hundreds. I remember as a kid in the basement, I had a big piece of green carpet set up as an airfield for all my model planes and cardboard buildings, and had to be at least 50 on there that I can remember. Then later, as I got older, in my teen years, 20s, I still built a little bit, maybe a couple model kits a year, up until early 30s, but I was involved in big cars, so I was building those. Doing a little bit of drag racing, building some cars, hot rods. Like to go fast. I had quite a collection of tickets too, so that was another collecting I did. Then probably in my early 30s, I stopped for about 10 years or so. Then I got married in my 40s, had a kid, And well, when there's a 2-year-old in the house and you can't really go anywhere, um, I didn't work on cars much anymore. I did up until a few years ago, but I started doing models more and more. And probably about 5 years ago, I got really back into it again. So I had about a 10-year gap there, but I was building a lot last few years, maybe 10 kits a year I'd finish, which for airplanes is a lot. For cars, it's not really that much. But airplanes are, of course, more involved with the way you build them. You have to build little sections and completely finish them, and then, building cars, I like that a lot because you can actually paint and finish everything and just assemble it all together and add the details. And I had a blast building the car I just did.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I still have a few little things to do, and I gotta shoot some clear on it. And I think I'm gonna do another car next. I think I'm working on a plane right now as a commission build for somebody, but I'm pretty much about 3 months overdue on that, so I need to get working on that. But I do have a car planned I'm going to do next. Just haven't decided what.
That's cool. Hey, I got a question about that Dart, the real car, the one-to-one that do you still have that car? And
no, I sold it at an auction because I thought that was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I spent about 8 years working on that, building it. I did everything myself on it, including paint.
Wow.
The hype was the auctions. You can send them to auction and get a lot of money for it, and I can get my next project. Well, it went to auction. It ended up selling under the reserve.
Oh no.
Well, I have to explain that is they'll ask you if it goes under the reserve and doesn't sell, do you want to sell it for the high bid? At that time, I already committed to buying a Cobra kit car, a Factory 5, so I had to get rid of it. And I worked on that until I actually moved to Tennessee. I couldn't really pack up all the pieces and parts, so I sold it as it was. Running, not quite driving yet. And then I moved to Tennessee, and I haven't had a hot rod since.
Oh man. Yeah. I've seen the pictures of it, and yeah, very, very, very nice. And it had a big block Dodge. What was it, a 440?
It was a 383 block with a 440 crank, which made it a 426.
Okay, so it was a wedge.
Yes.
Yeah, no Hemi heads on it. Yeah, okay.
No Hemi. It was the same displacement, just probably flowed the same for the heads I had. I had aluminum heads on it that were pretty.
Yeah. Just to get totally off of topic, the 351 that I was helping my nephew. That's the first engine I've ever put aluminum heads. We put trick flow aluminum heads on it, and those are so nice. And,
building that for your vehicle.
no, man, I can't afford that. I build model cars for hot rods. This is my nephew. I'll let him put all the money in it. No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, they can be expensive for sure. So that's in a nutshell who we are. We have 49 people watching right now. Thanks for all of you guys that are watching. And I do see your comments. If I haven't said anything to you, I would feel bad to pick one of you guys out and not say hey to everyone else. But I do see your comments coming in. It's okay if you're late, by the way. I knew if we said something about Dodge engines, one-to-one, somebody would have a comment. Mopar Nut, as a matter of fact. He says 383 is a good combo at 426 cube, short stroke, faster revving. That's right.
A new kit.
Oh, what kind? I haven't seen that one.
Dodge Coronet.
Yeah.
That's a pretty rare kit.
Oh, so it's not a new kit; it's an old kit.
It's an older kit. It's one of the round 2 models.
Uh-huh.
You know what's your favorite brand, MPC?
It sure is. Can't wait to build my General Lee. Yeah.
But actually, the reason I picked up this car, this was the one that got away from me. When I was about 18 years old, I was trying to buy one of these. It was all green, but looked just like the purple car in the box. And I had tried for about 3 weeks, and I had the guy was away. He was a lineman working away in a different state. And I kept going to his mother because I had a for sale sign, like, I want to buy the car, I want to buy the car. And he just, he never got back to me. Of course, this was the day before cell phones. This was in the mid 80s, I'd say, or late 80s. And I finally ended up buying a different car. And about 3 days after I bought it, he contacted me. Hey, you still want the car? Of course, being younger, I didn't have the extra money to spend on it, so it got away. But it was a beautiful Southern car.
Yeah. That's neat. That's really neat. Hey, so if guys, you watching, if you haven't already gone over to our Facebook group, do so. Go over there and check us out, Model Car Videos Facebook group. The link will be in the description of this video once it processes. And you can see the model that Mark just built. It was the Sterling Marlin Coors NASCAR. And I mean, I'm embarrassed to put anything on there now, Mark. You shouldn't have done that to me. It looks phenomenal. I can't believe the detail that you put in those with the little fittings and all those things. And I think you carry a lot of that stuff on Hobby Nut as well, right?
Yeah, I wanted to try to figure out how to use it since I really hadn't used it before ever. So I just want to do some experimenting and see how it works. And it's actually not that hard to do. It's just tiny. When you're talking about a little hand fitting that's about the size of a quarter the size of a grain of rice, try to get it onto a piece of wire is frustrating. But learn some techniques on how to do it. So.
All right. Hey, Troy, how's your little pickup coming?
Yeah.
So Troy's building a pickup, the one with the windshield that never fits right. The 50
yeah.
I'm not. I mean, it's coming along okay. I got paint on it, and paint's turned out pretty good. But there's just some parts on that truck that I just cannot figure out. Man, I'm really struggling with it. I figured out the bed. I think last time we were on here, we were talking about the bed. I figured it out, and I thought, well, you know what? I think I just figured something out on this probably nobody's ever thought of. No, I watched HPI guy, and that's exactly how he did it. So I wasn't coming up with anything new there, but I finally got that bed put on there, and it's coming along all right. I'm getting about the part where we put the windshield in, and I had some ideas on that, but I don't think I'm going to follow through with them. I heard Shugu is the way to go. Bead the trim of it with Shugu and then try to stuff it in there, I guess. I'm going to try it. Probably in the end, I'm not going to be happy with it.
Well, I'll tell you, Troy, one of the guys on... Go ahead, Mark. No, go ahead.
You tried putting the windshield in from the front?
I haven't tried anything yet. I'm just kind of watching videos and seeing how everybody else is going about it. I've even seen people take little tubes of styrene and line the trim with it and then set it in there, and it looked like that worked pretty good. So, I don't have access to... What's that, Mark?
I saw somebody build one, and they actually put the windshield in from the front, and they said it fit fairly well by going in from the front because it rested on top of the trim. Which I don't know if that's correct, but it worked for them.
That's definitely something I'll look into. Like I said, I don't have access to a hobby store where I'm at, and so the Shugu thing I can try, and I think by looking at it, I can maybe make that work. I just hope I don't mess the glass up too bad, but that's where I'm at with that truck. It's going to be a nice looking truck in the end. So we were talking about AMT trucks, and everybody had such a hard time with this truck, but I think mine turned out pretty decent. You have to
That's
do a
so
lot of
cool.
shimming. You have to do a lot of shimming parts and stuff, if I'm saying that right. But once you get it all shimmed up and everything, and everything lines up, it really turned into a nice truck. And my advice, anybody who wants to build the AMT, what's the name of this kit? You have one,
It's
Matt.
the Super Stones Firestone, 1978.
Yes. Yes, don't let the review scare you. It's really, if you just take your time with it and everything, it comes out to be a really nice truck.
I
So
like that.
it's really sharp and matte. You probably like the fact that it's a Ford.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost wore a Ford hat tonight. Yeah, I almost wore my Ford hat tonight, but this Ace hat fits better. My son got me this Ace hat, so I wore it. Um, Chris, what were you working on? You were working on? I know what you're working on, but I can't. It's a Buick or Pontiac. What is it?
The Riviera.
Riviera. Okay. Oh yeah. Chris loves
Body.
big cruisers.
This. I got the trim done. I
Yeah.
did that with the Malletau pen. That's. I think next time I'm going to do the enamel with the lacquer. This is the acrylic, and I had to buff it out a little bit to get it to, get a little bit of a shine to it. But I think I'm going to be happy with it.
It's going to be nice. And I'm working on the 55 Chevy, and I've just got to assemble it. I've got most everything painted, but I've got to assemble it if I don't drop the parts. But this is a really nice kit. It was that monogram
I like that.
That's
kit. A great kit.
Yeah. Yeah. So all kind of stuff going on. I'm not. Are you guys? Do you work on multiple kits at one time, or do you like stick to one? Because I'm a one kit guy. I don't start on anything else till I'm finished.
I stick to one. I can have multiple paintings going, but when it's with kits, I got to just do one.
That's the same way with me. I have to do one.
What was that, Mark?
I have about 19 or 20 in progress.
I couldn't imagine. I work on one and I lose parts. I mean, they're all in front of me, and my little distributor is gone. And I know on my video for the 55, I released it today. When I'm speaking in these videos, things pop in my head that are like what people are going to say. And I as soon as I said I can't find my distributor, what went through my head was, if you'd have left it attached to the tree, you would be able to find it. But I cut all my parts off. Every one of them I cut off the tree because I despise leaving anything on the tree. I'm just how I am. I don't want to take and touch up that one little spot. I'd rather drop it and lose it and never be able to find it again.
And it's never where you think you dropped it.
No, it's never. It hits and it bounces totally on the other side of the room.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I like it whenever you're looking for a part you dropped and then you find the part you lost 2 models ago. You finally find it. You're like, there that is. Okay.
Yeah, after you whittled out a new distributor, you find the stupid thing. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been missing that for 6 months.
So John Paul says he has 14. I have 14 projects on the go. Well, that's a lot to keep up with, John. I couldn't imagine. Rob Altus, I have 8 kits in different stages. Mike Pfeiffer says he works on train stuff. That's pretty neat. I used to love the little trains, and still do.
Talking about electric trains?
Yeah, I would imagine. What is it, Mike Pfeiffer? Is it HO trains? Is that what you're talking about? Trains were always real intriguing to me as a kid. I used to love to look at the model trains.
I actually have a O-scale layout in my basement.
O scale, is that the really? No, that's N scale. What's the really
That's
small one?
the O scale is bigger than HO.
Oh, it's bigger than HO. Okay.
I actually have a layout in the basement. That's another one of my passions. I wasn't going to bring up anybody, but since somebody mentioned they're into trains a little bit, I had to throw that out there.
Rob Altus says the dreaded carpet monster. Well, I don't have any carpet down here, but it can find the smallest nook or cranny that it will bounce under, and I'll never find that part again.
Mm-hmm.
N scale is what Mike builds. N scale trains. Those are the.
Oh, I have those too.
Yeah. Wow.
I think there's a Z scale, isn't there?
Yes, and I have one of those. I'm into all the scales. I love trains too.
I've never had the room for a layout. I've always wanted to have the room, but
Hey, change the topic real fast, Mark. When I look at your website and you constantly update your 124th and 125th scale model inventory, you come across used kits. Where in the world do you have a supply? And you may not want to give this information, and that's totally fine. But I'm just interested. How do you find these kits? Are you going on shows and buying like that? Is that how you do that? I'm just curious.
Well, a few different ways. I tell everybody I know that I will buy used kits, and I get people calling me I've never met before from Alabama, from Georgia, from South Carolina, say, hey, I've got 20, 30, 40, 50 kits, I want to sell. And that usually that's how I find them, but I do, whenever there are shows, I'll go to a show and pick them up. And I typically will wait till the end of the day when people don't want to take their stuff back home with them. And I'll make them offers. And I say, I'll take this whole box. I'll offer you this for it. I usually don't try to lowball people too much. I'll ask them, what do you think? And that's how I get a lot of the NASCAR kits. I probably have bought and sold 300 or 400 NASCAR kits in the past 4 or 5 months. And I think I got about 75 to 100 of them right now. As far as the other kinds of cars, hot rods, muscle cars, those are a little harder to find. People tend to keep them more in their collections, but I still go look for them.
Yeah.
Like I just picked up, and I'll do, I'll look on eBay too. I'll keep an eye out and see if maybe somebody doesn't normally sell model kits, has a bunch for sale. You might see one car for sale by, Sewing Lady 451. That's usually a good sign that they don't sell kits. And I'll ask them, like, do you have anything else for sale?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just make a package deal. I try not to have them shipped. I'll try to go get them personally, but shipping, of course, adds a lot of cost into it. That's why I try to do like package buys if it's shipping. Like I just picked up, I don't know if you can see them very well, but all these race cars, there's a couple funny cars in there.
Oh, funny cars.
I picked those up as I don't even know how he found me, but somebody contacted me through Facebook and said I had some kits to sell and, you want to buy them from me.
If I had people calling me at home wanting to sell me model kits, my wife would kill me. I can't even go there. That would be cool though. People calling you to buy their model kits. Wow, what an awesome thing.
One thing you can't buy at Hobby Lobby is used kits. So.
Yeah, and you can only buy the 7 that they always have. It's like they always have the same old. It's convenient for some people, but it can also get boring.
You know what? They haven't rotated their stock in like several months, it seems like.
No, they haven't. Hey, Troy, so Walt says that he makes his, a lot of times he says, Troy, I custom make glass from clear plastic cookie or muffin containers. It's multi-step, but it works well. And I've seen people do that. They've taken plastic bottles and such and created their own windows. So that might be an option if you can't get that window to fit correctly. And another option for that 55 Cameo is, I forget who it was. I think it was Jason. Anyway, he sent me a message on Facebook concerning your the windshield not fitting right, and he just chopped the top on the he chopped the top. It was like the heck with make stretching the window. He chopped the top on the truck, and it looked really cool, and he made it fit that way. And
You can try picking
I
up
actually
one
love. I got two of those.
try the
I've
windshield.
got two of those.
Fits.
yeah, that might be a
You think?
Because
Yeah.
that's a newer kit, and if it's a newer kit and it fits, you can usually request and buy just the sprue itself from the manufacturer.
yeah.
Because this is by Revell Monogram, and that's currently available kit.
Uh-oh. So Chris's connection is not doing real well. Yeah, I've had Revell send me parts when we had a problem with a Mustang, and they actually no, it was I'm sorry, not a Mustang. It was the Foose F100, and I had a problem, and they sent me a replacement part free of charge. That's really cool.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
By moving down to the bottom left side, do you think your connection will be a little better?
I wish it was that easy.
Does that mean
What's that?
am I going to drop out now that I've taken his spot?
I don't know. Yeah, the windshield's going to be interesting, but I see where a lot of people just going ahead and put the visor on the top, as far as on the front of the cab of that truck, and you can't see it. So that's always an option, although I don't like the look of the truck with the visor on it. The backside, I don't know. I just the Shugu thing. I think I'm going to try it. I just have a feeling that's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
But it's all a learning process, and if I can figure it all out on this truck, I'll probably build another one. I really like the kit. The kit goes together really well. It's just the windshield's probably going to be an issue, and there's a couple other little things, but I like the truck.
So Fred Henry wants to know if we're from Georgia. So Fred, I'm from Georgia, southeast Georgia, near the coast. Troy is from Illinois. What town is it, Troy?
Timewell.
Okay, so he's from Illinois. Chris Callan is from Henderson, Kentucky. And
Yeah.
Mark is from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. So that's where we're from. None of us are close to each other.
Well, I think all our states are connected at least.
In one way or the other, yeah. I'm not connected to Illinois, but you are, or Chris
Yep.
is. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're connected in some sense.
Hmm.
So there's been way too many comments for me to they go by too fast, and I don't see them all. And I apologize to everyone who has commented.
Comments.
You have to
Hey,
snap
Mark,
pictures with your phone.
Mark, have you ever gone to any of the swap meets in Tennessee? The model shows?
Yeah, I usually work the one in Murfreesboro.
There was one in Cookeville that I used to go to that was always really good.
Cookeville?
Yeah.
I know where that's at.
I don't think I've heard of that show. Are they still having it?
I don't think they are. I think probably 2010 is the last time I went. It's been a long time.
Yeah, this past couple of years, everything's been. Matter of fact, the only show that happened after COVID started last year was the one in Murfreesboro. I think it was the Mid Tennessee National or something.
Mm-hmm.
but that's part of the club I belong to, the IPMS. Most of the members, it's a pretty big club. It's about 40 people. Most of the members work that show. So I usually do judging, and I help the guy who runs it run his table. He sells stuff. Which this year I'll probably have a table myself. So, but yeah, that was the only one that actually happened last year, up until this spring. I think the one in Indiana that happened about a month or two ago, that was the first one since then.
We're finally going to have ours in Owensboro, the club in Owensboro, Kentucky, in September.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Fred Henry. Fred Henry says he goes to the Acme show in Atlanta and JaxCon in Jacksonville. Hey, Fred, next year when they have JaxCon, I'll meet you over about Valdosta on 75, and I'll catch a ride down there with you. Or you can come across to 95, actually, because that's how you get to Jacksonville. I'm just above Jacksonville, and I missed that show. And unfortunately, that's the closest one to me is in Jacksonville. I'm only like 70 miles away from Jacksonville. So hit me up, Fred. We'll go.
They have a few in the Atlanta area. You ever go to those?
It's 5 hours away, so not really. I'm smack dab in the corner.
That's a pretty good haul.
Yeah. '66 B Mustang says, why doesn't Walmart sell model kits anymore? And that was Robin Lynn. Robin, I think they actually do in some states. They don't sell them in my local Walmarts, but I saw on the Lucas C channel, he was disapproving of it, and I could imagine why, because how Walmart puts the small businesses under sometimes. But I do think Walmart did start selling them again, but I don't think it would be near the volume that they used to when we were younger.
It seems to be just around Christmas time.
Is that right? Yeah, I haven't seen any.
Okay.
I don't like Walmart, so I just stay away.
Oh, me too. I don't go in there unless I have to.
Yeah. Mike Pfeiffer says he has no shows, 0 shows of any kind in the Southwest. That's kind of how I feel where I'm at. I'm the only guy in my county that builds model cars, I think.
You're a lone wolf.
I am a lone wolf. You can hear me howl.
You'd be
Chris?
surprised. There's probably somebody in every town.
Yeah, they think just like I do. There's nobody. Chris Hardy says, yeah, if you have a hobby shop, support them. That's very true. You may pay a few extra dollars, but you're putting food on someone's table and also making things available that you may not be able to get at Hobby Lobby. So that's a great point, Chris. So Rob is in Los Angeles. Okay, you're way across the United States over there, Rob. And he says they don't sell them. I suppose you're talking about Walmart in Los Angeles.
Yeah, there are no there's no hobby stores in the Nashville area. There was a couple around, they closed. That's sort of what made me decide I wanted to open a hobby shop. Of course, I'm doing the online part first, and next year, hopefully, I want to actually open a store here in town in Murfreesboro. There is a couple hobby shops, but they just deal like in RC planes and cars. And one of them has a smaller selection of plastic kits than Hobby Lobby by about a third. So they're not really any competition. So if I open one, it'll probably be the only one. The closest one I know of is going to be Knoxville, and then Bowling Green has they both have a hobby town.
Yeah, Hobby Town. I've been to one in Knoxville.
Atlanta.
We have
too.
a hobby town in Evansville.
So John Paul lives up in Canada. He says that all the shows have been canceled this year. And the other night on John's live stream, he mentioned about the virus and the up in Canada they can't go anywhere without wearing a mask, and it's just a real pain. Thankfully, here at least in Georgia, they've lifted. Well, if you went to town where I live, you wouldn't think anything had changed, but that's not the same in other places. But it's a lot more lax, or they have been lifted. The restrictions have been lifted here, so that has put a damper on people being able to get supplies, the stores being supplied and things like that in Canada and other. So I've heard. So we're very fortunate to. I'm fortunate. I've got my own hobby store. It's set up here. I just don't want to build them. I just like to look at them. But if push comes to shove, I could take one down every once in a while and build it.
You hoarder, you.
I am. I'm a hoarder. I thought whenever we started this, Chris, earlier, you reminded me of the way you introduced yourself reminded me of Alcoholics Anonymous. You said, "I'm Chris," and it just hit me. It was like, that sounds like an AA. I've never been in AA except I went with my dad one time. So it went. I have a lot of weird thoughts that go through my head. So excuse me.
That's okay. That's about like that squirrel you're talking about, right?
Always. I'll try to shut a video down and something comes to mind and I'll go for 5 more minutes. And I know it annoys people. I apologize.
That's the hobby nut squirrel.
There he is right there.
Full read report.
How did you come up with that design?
A good friend of mine is the person who designed the poster for the Nationals a couple of years ago.
Okay. It makes the stickers.
He sells like stickers and posters. And as a matter of fact, I've got his character he has is Mikey.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the logo for that. And I asked him to help me design some logos for my website. And doing some brainstorming, the squirrel is what sort of came up. Because as hobbyists, you pretty much see it's like a dog seeing a squirrel. You just all of a sudden grabs your attention, run the other way. So you'll be working on a kit and something new comes out, and you got to have that too.
Absolutely. That's pretty cool. Hey, Fred Henry says, nice talking with you guys. He's calling it tonight. He said 4 a.m. comes early. Chris Callan said he woke up at 4 a.m. this morning. So how early does it come, Chris?
Pretty quick.
Thanks for being on him, or Fred Henry. And Richard asked, where am I from? I'm from Southeast Georgia. That's why I talk funny. Everybody else talks normal on here except me. Fred says, hit him up. Hey, Fred, I'm serious. I want to go to JockCon next year when it comes around. I will hit you up. And if I forget, hit me up. Are you on my Facebook group? I don't remember. Hey, Brandon. Guess what? I bought something from Burbank Hobbies on eBay before too. That rings a bell. I don't remember what it was, but I have bought something from them as well. It might have been glue or something like that. So Richard's in Jacksonville. Hey, Richard, you're very close to me. And Mopar Nut says about ollies. How many do you guys have an ollies near you?
Yeah, I do.
There's a couple for me.
Oh, you have a couple. Wow.
But I've never seen any car kits in any of them.
Really? So at Christmas time is when I go to my local ollies, local 25 miles away. And they usually will have some model kits, but a lot of them will be like a 2015 Escalade or something like that. I don't want to build that. But I was able to get some of those 1955 Chevy Cameos. I got 2 of them, Troy. If you mess anything up, just let me know. I'll send you another one. And Gremlins and all kind of stuff that's like people don't want kind of kits. It's like an overflow. They tend to have them at my local Ollie's during Christmas, and then they sell them all at like $9.95 a piece or something like that. It's pretty cool.
Well, I heard a couple of years ago they had some. They were clearing out some NASCAR kits, 2017 model NASCARs, and now that
Yep.
now they're gone, they're selling for about $100 a piece. So
What?
base. They never really
What?
made that. They weren't popular when they came out, and now people want to build, different cars using those as donor kits. And since it was the only models that ever came out of that particular season, of anything after, I think 2012 was the last NASCAR kits before they hit 2017. And until the next generation comes out next year, that was all you had.
Yeah.
This current generation.
Yeah. I bought a couple of Ollie's. There's a Kevin Harvick.
That's worth about $100.
Are you kidding? My son started it. Yeah, it didn't get finished. So worth about 50 now.
You could probably still get 50 for it. Yes.
Wow, I need to put it on eBay. Hey, John Paul, I have a Michaels also, and you're right. It's not that great. They have about 6 kits. They have about 3 kits less than Hobby Lobby, and they're overpriced.
And the stuff they have is never that good.
No, I saw someone the other day on Facebook said that there was a Michaels was having a clearance sale, and I went over there, but I mean the only thing on clearance was, it was not model kits or anything like that.
Yeah.
Some Michaels.
I know they have clearance sales on their art supplies. That's what I go there for.
Yeah. So, Aries Styrene says there are 5 hobby shops within 30 minutes of him. Wow.
Jeez.
Wow. 5 hobby shops. I don't have a hobby shop.
There was probably about 7 or 8 in the area there.
Where at?
And when I lived in Dallas area,
Man,
there was a lot of them there, but there's just nothing here in Tennessee.
really?
Well, unless you drive Knoxville, Memphis, Bowling Green, Atlanta, everything's at least 2 or 3 hours away.
I lived in East Tennessee, in Loudon, Tennessee, just below Knoxville, and there was the Hobbytown USA, but I think it used to be Hobbytown and it became Hobbytown USA, but they had a pretty good selection, but a lot of Tamiya kits and things such as that. I bought a big 1/12 scale motorcycle that was on sale and built it a long time ago.
You guys see the 1/12 scale I came across?
Yes. The Camaro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
That is a very large box. It would probably, if I held it up in front of the camera right now, it would completely cover the screen.
So it's 1/12 scale, so twice the size of a.
It's twice as long. Yeah, the body itself is probably, I'm guessing probably about 13, 14 inches long.
That's cool.
Pretty big.
When I was a kid, I had a 57 or 55 Thunderbird, and it was the large kit. It had the opening doors and things like that, and I don't think I ever finished it, but it was.
Was it blue on the box?
I don't remember if it was, Chris. It's been so darn long. I think it may have been blue, but it was a big one. Oh yeah, there's a big one.
They've reissued it.
But this is one I'm building.
That's huge.
I'm not selling, but I'm gonna build it as a gasser. It's gonna take a lot of work to do it, so it's probably gonna be about a year or so before it's finished.
Well, that'll be cool. That'll be cool.
But yeah, the
All
body.
right,
I mean, this is the body next to my head.
Oh wow.
That's
It's
so
pretty
cool.
big. I'm guessing. I mean, yes, it's twice as long, but it's about 5 times the mass of a regular car kit. So it's big.
So Galaxy Steve says that they just released that 57 Thunderbird. I guess Galaxy Steve, you know which one I'm talking about. It was the, I guess was it? It might have been 12th scale as well. It was a pretty big one.
Mhm.
That's 1/16.
Oh, is it 1/16? Okay.
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh, you got one.
It's at the bottom of a stack of other kits where I'd show you.
Yeah.
Anybody
No
wants one?
problem.
I've got a sale.
Okay, that's where I saw it at. It was on Hobby Nut. That's where I saw the Thunderbird. Okay, yeah. All right, so we are coming up on an hour in 3 minutes. So we will begin to wind down here, maybe answer a few more questions or interact a few more minutes. But I know Chris has to get up early. I'm off tomorrow. Darn it. I don't have to get up
Must be
early.
nice.
Yeah. Troy looks like he may be fading off if we're not careful. Any final thoughts?
This was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing this again.
Yeah, and we will do it again. Galaxy Steve said he was just looking at that T-Bird on Hobby Nut. You guys go check out Hobby Nut Models. If you like NASCAR kits, boy, that's the place to go too. I like to put them on the shelf, but I don't like to build them. Go over there and check out Mark's inventory. Also, in the video today, I was talking about these sanding pads, and this is, I'm not trying to make advertisements, but these sanding pads here, rather than taking a piece of sandpaper and trying to sand around a curve, these are really, really nice. They're very, very padded and they're very soft. And he has multiple grits from very, very fine to very, very coarse. So go check those out at Hobby Nut. And anything else there he's got, go ahead.
What I was going to say is those sanding pads, the Infinity, that's how you pronounce it, Infinity. I know you're having some difficulty.
Yeah, I was struggling with that.
Infinity, they're actually, you'd be surprised, that one set of sanding pads will probably last you about 5 years. The grit doesn't fall off like it does on other sanders. The Squadron ones are a little cheaper. They'll last a year or two, whereas like the ones you buy at the dollar store, they'll last a month or two. And then the Infinity, I should say. Did I send you any of the hard stick ones?
Yeah, right here. This
Yeah,
darn
those are
camera's
good.
backwards.
You really need to sand something flat. That will work wonderfully. They are very rigid and they work almost like a file. But like I said, the grit on those lasts forever. I still have the original ones I bought 2 years ago for building models.
They do work. They do work good because on my 55, there's places that I was able to. There was quite a bit of flash marks on here, so mold where the molds joined together, and I was able to sand them very, very well with those things. And that's the truth. I'm not just saying that.
You'll find the 400 is your best friend.
I used quite a few of them. I like those really soft ones too. Those are nice. The grit is a little much, but they're very, very nice. I just saw a comment I needed. Hobby Nut site is so Mopar Nut. It's hobbynutmodels.com. I'll have the link in the description of this video once we process the video, or any of my other videos, any of my newer videos. The link to the is in the description of the videos there, so you can find Mark's hobby store fairly easy.
Another thing is you probably, I know you know the site ScaleMates, but I am now, if you go down Marketplace, I am listed as one of the vendors on there now.
Oh, cool.
That just started a couple days ago, so you'll be able to find out what I have, and you can see inventory. Well, besides on my site, you can also see it on ScaleMates now.
Well, this has been fun. I appreciate everybody coming on, and let me see that tank one more time, Troy. What is that, a T-34 or something like that? Panzer? I read your lips because I can't hear you.
It's a Panzer Tiger II, I think.
He went dead. Okay, that looks cool.
Or is
Very
that a
cool.
Panther? I think it's a Panther.
Panther.
Give us a
Very.
thumbs up, the Panther.
Is it a Panther, Troy? Yes. Even on our Facebook group, we will allow you one post of a tank per month.
It has wheels.
It has wheels. Hey, they're just as much a model kit as anything else, and I don't mind at all if someone puts their tanks. One of the members has been posting a few pictures of tanks. It's totally fine. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Any last words? And I'm done. I really appreciate you three coming on here and taking up my screen space. And
Thanks for having us.
Since you moved down to the bottom left, Chris, you did much better. So
I think so.
But now Troy's having problems.
Troy says you can't hear me. So Troy, thanks for coming over tonight, and we'll do this again. And we'll even get you where you take up your whole screen rather than just this little small area. And Mark,
I'll see you later, Troy.
Mark, any last comments?
I'll get that microphone figured out eventually.
Yeah, everyone's gonna have a problem.
The iPad works. The computer doesn't seem to want to work, even when I plugged in a microphone that I bought. So I'm not sure what's going on yet.
Yeah, I bought these. They came in today, and they're wired, so I don't have to worry about them going dead like somebody's may have. But anyway. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. Everybody that commented and took part tonight, thanks a lot. Don't forget to go visit our Facebook group, Model Car Videos Facebook. Don't forget to go to Hobby Nut Models and check out Mark's inventory. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and all those things. And we'll do this again very soon. So everyone, have a great night. We're signing off. See you later.
See you later. Good night.